Hi, I'm Malcolm and welcome back to my shed. Now you might just be able to hear me above the rain lashing down on the roof and the gale force winds outside. This is the back end of February and it's just blowing a hoolie out there. And I can't think of a better day to spend with a matchless G12 to fit some luggage equipment for the new season. Now this bike here, this 59 G12, was the bike that I did the piston ring conversion on. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fit some Craven equipment, which is going to be the W rack. It's going to be the Snowdon large top box and also the Dolomite panniers. And I'm also going to fit some aftermarket crash bars as well, which frankly are not designed for this bike, but what we'll need to do is we'll need to make up some bracketry. So I'll just share all that with you, and it'll probably take about maybe three parts in this, but I think we should get cracking. So I've now opened the big box that it all arrived in, and what we have got here is we've got a Snowdon large top box, we've got a W rack which fits the matchless G12 and also the AGS Model 31, of course. We've also got the panniers, which I'll come to later because that's a different fitting exercise. What I'm just going to be doing here is just going through the fitting of the rack and also the top box, and then we can come to the panniers later. A very nice folder actually, which is a really nice touch. And in here is my invoice and also the fitting instructions in there, and also the parts list of what should be here. Now I have to say, I've spoken to the guys down at Craven, and they've already admitted to me that the bracketry for my bike is incomplete, and there's a reason for that, and fair play to them. What they did was, when they bought the company, the Craven name and also all of the rights to the drawings and the designs and everything like that, there were certain drawings and designs that were missing from the files. So what they've asked me to do is there any way that I can make up the missing brackets or bracketry and let them know what that is. So and you know, the sizes, dimensions, and what have you. So what I'll be probably making is I'll be making 3 of everything if I need to do that. But the other stuff that arrived as well is a fitting kit, and I have to say a really nice touch as well is these almost like little grocer's bags here. I thought that was a really nice touch. And in here is effectively the nuts and the bolts and the washers and the U-clamps in there. And in this one, what we have here is just the flat brackets. And I'll need to be making up a couple of these just to give it some rigidity. So we'll get on with that. And of course, what we have here is we have the top box, which I'll just open now, and we can have a little look at that. And there we have is our Snowdon large top box, and a very fine thing it looks too, actually. So I'm looking forward to fitting this. So we'll get started. So you can see here our first 2 stays or brackets fitted. Now if I just bring the rack into line here. So what Craven recommend is they recommend that you really should have the rack as low down as practicable, and I want to bring this out just a little bit. I don't want this hard up against the seat rubbing on it. But what you'll probably notice is I've picked up the 2 mudguard stays here, which is on a frame member. So at least we know that we've got something rigid for this to go into. But what you'll notice here is that there's quite a gap here between this mounting part of the frame and also these brackets or stays here. So what I'm going to have to do is just bend these out and kind of bring them into line. But that's in the central position, and we're about 2 inches out here, so we'll get that done. So we've now got our 4 brackets in position, and as we can see now, when we bring this into line, that is more in line with where the rack should be. So it's just a question now of adjusting these. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trial fit this rack and sort of get it in position, get it leveled, and then I can then sort of tighten these up, and we can see where we are from there. So what I've decided to do is to modify the brackets that come with the rack, and what I will do is I'll recommend to Craven that maybe they need to be looking at this particular design for this model of bike. And effectively the design change really is to put a slot, an elongated slot in this particular bracket, and what that does is it allows the rack to move, so we can get it in a lower position, but not only that, we can set it so it's level with the bike, which it was pretty impossible to do before that. So that's the first bracket that I've made. Now the other thing is I'm a little bit anxious that all we're relying on here is just these 2 points on the mudguard, although it's attached to a frame member, and we have these 2 locations here. So what I've done now is I've made up a bracket, as you can see there, and again with an elongated hole in it, because what I want to try and do is get a kind of a triangulation in here. So if there is an abnormal amount of weight, or it goes over a severe bump, that this isn't just going to drop. So this locates onto this screw here, which holds the seat in position, but it's actually through the frame, so we know that it's got a good fix on it. Now it's kind of awkward to get it in the back here, but once it's located, there, as you can see now, that gives us a very positive triangulation. What Craven recommend is that you put a strap across here to make a sort of an N figure. I just don't think that really is going to help too much on this particular design. I mean, I'm sure it does on other designs, but not on this design. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to back this screw out here and back this off, and then we'll attach this on both sides, and I think that should be pretty much good to go on the bracketry. Now I've not used the metric nuts and bolts here, and the simple reason for that is that I've just got a thing about making all of the nuts and bolts, especially on a British motorcycle, 26 threads per inch, which is the CEI standard, which is cycle thread, and to me it just gives it a consistency. So I've just gone for the cycle threads on this, and that'll be that. So so what we're going to do now is I'm going to take all this to bits again, and just for the sake of, I know this is all stainless, these brackets here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint them black now, and because I just think it just contrasts not very well with the frame. So I'm going to paint all this black and attach this on here, and then I'll get back to you once all that's done. So welcome back, and now we've got our brackets painted here. I prefer to see them powder coated myself, but you know, painting will just will be enough to get this done. These two here are the long stays that I've made up, and these stays here are the ones that actually link the frame to the rack. I'll be going through that just shortly, and I've taken the seat off the bike to give you a clear picture of how that goes on. These are the original stays that came with the kit, and all I've done with that is just put a slight bend in there just to bring them into line. And these two here again are the kind of originals, but what I've done is I've modified them by putting in, as you can probably see, the elongated holes, and I've shortened them a little bit. And what this does is it just allows us to actually just drop the rack down slightly to give it a sort of a lower profile. And that's really it. So we can sort of get ahead now and just get the bracketry put on. Now I've been going through all of the kit of nuts and bolts and bits and pieces, and I've noticed that we've only got half as many of the little socket screws and M5 nuts to go with them than we should have. so put it down to all the frustrations of working from home and what's been going on of late. You know, I'll suggest actually that probably things will improve once things go, but it really is quite irritating. So what I've done is I've gone into my screw box and I've found these are the kind of a Phillips headed screw, and I'm just going to use a plain nut, not the nylock. I'm not keen on nylocks on classic motorcycles. They weren't around in the 1950s, so I'll just be using a straight nut, and I'll be using a little bit of thread lock on there just to keep everything period, as it were. So let's get cracking.